Okay, today I will be covering the holiday called Day of the Dead or Dia de los Muertos. Okay, let's go to Mexico. Dia de Muertos, or sometimes called Dia de los Muertos, meaning Day of the Dead, is a celebration that traces back about 2,500 to about 3,000 years ago when the Aztecs would have festivals dedicated to the goddess of the dead. This then turned into the modern day holiday that we know of today. The Day of the Dead, as we know it, originated in Mexico and is specifically celebrated in the central and southern regions for the most part. But today, it has now spread worldwide and is not generally celebrated in a single day, but over the course of a few days, beginning on October 31st to November 2nd. Okay, so now we're going to get into what this holiday is about and how people celebrate it. Okay, to summarize it as simple as possible, this holiday is unsurprisingly about celebrating the dead. People often visit their deceased loved ones at cemeteries, bearing gifts like their favorite foods, drinks, and other valuables that their loved ones enjoyed. The reason for this is because it is believed that doing so will encourage the souls of the dead to visit the living more frequently. Okay, now here's some photos. A very common theme for this holiday is skeletons, which universally most people recognize with the dead. So here, it's a lot of flowers, a lot of skeletons, candles. This picture is also pretty important because it has food in it, and there's also celebratory food for this day that I'm going to talk about later. There's fruit, there's tamales, there's bread as well. This is a little bit older picture, but this is when people go to the cemeteries, they write notes to their loved ones and leave flowers. Okay, so we just summarized. Now we're going to get into the celebrations, which would include not only food but activities that are done on this day. So one of the ways the Day of the Dead is celebrated is with dressing up in clothes and makeup that is meant to resemble the dead, which is why, as you can see, a lot of skeletons, a lot of bones are incorporated in people's costumes and their makeup, masks. Overall, this day is about celebrating the dead in happiness, not necessarily about mourning for them. This is something that differs from America, as we really perceive Halloween as like maybe a darker holiday. This day is a day of celebration. Let me take a look at these really quick. She's not particularly wearing a mask, but she does have the makeup on, as you can see. This is a larger crowd showing just how important this holiday is. A lot of people turn out for it. Here's another one. Again, skeletons, bones. Alright, now to my favorite part, which is food and drinks. So what is a festival without food and drinks? Food and drinks are a very important part of this holiday, as they are used as offerings to the dead and happily eaten by the living. One of the most common foods prepared on this holiday is the tamale, which you can see here. This is your standard tamale. Many people who celebrate the Day of the Dead will drink the preferred drink of their dead loved ones, but traditionally one of the most common drinks to consume on this day is pulque, which is an alcoholic drink made from the sap of an agave plant. It's white, it has a milk-like texture, but it's a little thicker. Pan de Muerto is another staple food for the Day of the Dead. What this food literally translates to is bread of the dead. It's essentially a sweet roll with sugar, see, but sometimes it does come with edible decorations on top of it, and as you can see, it's placed on an altar with candles and flowers around it. This one was used as an offering, but people eat it as well.
Now, other than Mexico, South America is a place where the Day of the Dead is often celebrated as well. The Day of the Dead takes on different names and customs among the various countries within South America, but they do share some similar traditions with how people celebrate the holiday in Mexico as well. Two countries in South America that I found pretty interesting that celebrate the Day of the Dead a little different was first Bolivia. Now, Bolivia doesn't have a traditional Day of the Dead. They have Dia de los Natitas. Dia de las Natitas, or Day of the Skulls, is what is celebrated in the city of La Paz, Bolivia. The reason this holiday is called the Day of the Skulls is because families keep the skulls of their loved ones and pass them down from generation to generation. The reason for this is that the skulls are thought to overlook or look over the family over the course of the year and protect them. But during this special event of Dia de las Natitas, they decorate these skulls with flowers, family garments, cigarettes, and other various items that are used to thank the dead. As you can see here, they have the skulls lined up. They all have flowers, garments. This one you can see, they take it with them on events. This lady has glasses on her family member's skull. This one, again, a lot of flowers. Skulls is just a theme all over the world with this holiday, in America as well. Okay, another country in South America that I find to be interesting besides Bolivia was Ecuador. Now, Ecuador does share a lot of the same traditions as Mexico does with how they celebrate the Day of the Dead. But something different that I found was the type of food that they ate was pretty different. In Ecuador, Day of the Dead is celebrated a very similar way in Mexico. Foods such as guaga de pan, which is essentially a sweet roll with sweet filling, is a popular food for this day. You can see it's right here. This is something that's not traditionally eaten in Mexico. Another food that is generally eaten on this holiday is colada morada, or a drink that consists of black corn flour and various fruits. To me, it kind of looks like a smoothie with just fruits blended in. And as you can see, they usually eat it with guaga de pan, because in this picture, there's a cup of it sitting to the right of it as well. That's a very popular drink in Ecuador. Day of the Dead, we call it Halloween. In the US, there are a few differences that make it seem like an almost completely different holiday. One major difference is that there's absolutely no reverence or respect to the dead, at least for the mainstream. Halloween is a holiday that is generally kid-oriented, as the tradition is to dress up as celebrities, superheroes, or pretty much whoever you want, and go door to door collecting candy from people. Some other activities like carving pumpkins into jack-o'-lanterns is popular as well. Of course, you see these kids trick-or-treating, going for candy, they're dressed up. That's one thing that America does share with Mexico is the dressing up, but it's not dressing up into characters and superheroes and stuff. Is not what they do in Mexico. It's a lot more focused on remembering their ancestors and your passed on loved ones. Here's a picture of the jack-o'-lantern, also something that is not traditional in Mexico to do. And another thing about Halloween is that it's a darker holiday. So a lot of religious people that do not associate with Halloween. That's not really the case in Mexico since it doesn't have that dark undertone. It's a celebratory day. And those are the main differences between Halloween and the Day of the Dead. Okay, so now we're going to look into how this holiday ties into what we have been learning in class. Now, a lot of people may think, oh, Day of the Dead is a holiday, you celebrate the dead, you pray about the dead, you drink, you eat, that's it. But there's a lot more a lot bigger impact that this holiday has. So this place called Self Help Graphics and Art Incorporated, which is located in Los Angeles and formed during the Chicano movement, has been a big advocate for Day of the Dead. Actually, when a lot of Mexicans were coming to America during the early 1900s, mid 1900s, the tradition of celebrating the Day of the Dead in America got lost for a little bit. And this place, Self Help, actually helped in reviving the celebration of it in California. Now, the first Day of the Dead that was celebrated in California was in about 1974. And the whole purpose for them reviving it was not only to educate younger people on the holiday, but to get more exposure for young artists in LA. Also, to promote certain political stances as well. Like I said, this is in Los Angeles. There's places in the Bay Area like San Francisco and Oakland that also have pretty big gatherings with artists. They use their platform for this day to help get exposure. And like I said, in LA, to help get political and social issues moving. I think that's really important to reach the rest of the U.S. as well. There are other parts of the U.S. Chicago has some. Even Harvard has a permanent Day of the Dead altar. And the more people that know about this day, the more educated they will get, I believe. So that's it. Thank you for listening.